take it easy on me now.
MJ, you had a couple tackles on special teams on Saturday. Just how important is that role? You know, how seriously do you take that role playing on special teams?
Oh, I take it very seriously. Honestly, it's like every day we try to fight for opportunities and show that we're capable of doing what we got to do on the field, honestly. So, like, just as serious as you take your 9-to-5 job, it's as serious as I take my special teams job, because that's what we got to do. Basically, I take a lot of pride in fulfilling my job and helping the team win. And I felt like that I try to do that every week, and specifically last week. So.
You said take it easy on me. So do you prefer Mikhail or MJ? And what's with the pretty necklace?
All right. Well, one thing I do want to correct, that I've been going through this trouble since I was a child. It's actually pronounced Mikhail, like Mikhail. But MJ is fine. MJ is usually used by folks who can't really pronounce my first name like that. But
Thank you, MJ.
You know, it's cool. But you know, I kind of adapted to my nickname and everything like that. It's been part of me since I was a child. My mother gave me gave me that nickname. So, the necklace, it really represents my roots for real. Yeah, I'll claim Baltimore to the day I die, but anybody who truly knows me, my family's from West Africa, Liberia, and some people ask me why I get so big. Well, I be eating rice and chicken since I was young. You feel me? So just carbs and proteins forever. You know what I mean? So like basically, I can't forget about my roots. And plus, this is one of the first true gifts my daddy gave to me. And you know what I mean? Not a lot of people get to, you know, reestablish their relationship with their dad. And me and my dad, we hold strong to this day. And so I wear this to remind me and him, and that, yeah, I'm the seed.
What's your father and mother's name?
My father's name is Sherman. He's currently the senator of Liberia right now. And my mother is Susie Shaw, who she's a nurse back home in Maryland.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You said your dad was a senator in Liberia?
Yeah. So my daddy, he did a lot of things when he was young, a lot of academic achievements. He went to Harvard or whatnot, but he was a lawyer for some time, but now he's a senator of Liberia. He's really doing what he got to do to change the political atmosphere in Liberia and Africa, to make them to a more, make them a better country and everything like that. But I can't really get into political stuff. It's the reason why I'm playing football.
What were some of the main lessons that you've taken from him, and is it hard not being able to really see him in person?
Main lessons for real that I took from him was basically like, go back to one of our core traits that we have right now, is basically resiliency. You know, imagine there was a civil war that broke out in Liberia, if you have not known. There was a civil war that broke out, which forced a lot of immigrants to America. And through all of that, he still kept his political atmosphere, his political status, and did whatever he had to do to make sure that stayed there, you know what I mean? As well as take care of his 4 children. And even though I wasn't there just yet, but still, like, take care of his children, make sure everybody was straight. And also, like, when it comes to seeing him and everything like that, I kind of just chalk that up to being a man. I don't need a lot of personal time or stuff like that to establish a relationship. If you just keep it a buck with me, meaning like just keep it real with me, I'll keep it real with you too. And that's what me and my daddy always did. Like, we don't text on an everyday basis, but when he texts me, I text back. When he calls me, I call back, and then vice versa. And you know, every time we call each other, it's like a 30-minute phone call to make sure we touch everything on basis. And honestly, and most of the time, I'm kind of trying to teach him about football. So, yeah.
MJ, this may sound like a weird question, but I might be kind of dating myself a little bit too. But in the time you've been in Georgia, have you ever met Rennie Kerlin, who was from Liberia as well?
Yeah. Honestly, me and him, we touched connections throughout high school. I think he followed me one time, and I did peep that he was from Liberia as well. But I haven't got into a conversation about that for real. But honestly, it'll be really good, you know what I mean? But it did kind of open up my eyes and say, hey, I'm not the only one here. Even when it came to the Z George Lari, you know what I mean? Like, me and him, we kind of popped it off right there, just having that having that common ground. So yeah.
You talked about teaching your dad about football. What's been the hardest thing for him to understand? And then kind of a second question, you mentioned the necklace. How long have you had it, and just what does it mean to you?
So when it comes to teaching him about football, like, I did the best I can do. I'm pretty sure I knocked out all the core stuff in high school. You know what I mean? Because that's when I feel like high school is a little bit more complicated than college, because high school you're dealing with like recruiting and, you know, games and stuff like that. And I didn't really go to a regular district high school. I went to a private high school out in DC where I was traveling an hour plus just to go there. And just telling him, like, what am I sacrificing for? You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing all day, not being an average high school kid? What am I doing this for? And I just broke it down to him like that. And like, as he watched the games, as he paid more attention, as he saw my success on the field, it started to come a little bit more easy to see what happens. And plus, my sister and my brother-in-law and my mother, they do their job. When he asks a question, they make sure they answer it. But he be like, oh, okay. And I had this necklace since, if I could fairly remember, my sophomore year of high school birthday. So I turned 16, 17 around that area. As I said, like, it means a lot to me. I asked my dad specifically, like, I said, it's a funny story. I said, I want a crucifix chain, you know, a chain with the cross and Jesus on it, because that was like the style and everything. And this was the chain that he gave me. When I first got it, I was like, come on, man, that's not what I asked for. But I asked, more and more, I started to see the uniqueness in it. Not everybody has this chain. This chain is not easily recreatable. And just also, when I said it brings me back to me and my roots, and let me know where I really came from. As I say, I'll always claim Baltimore, but I forever will claim Africa as well.
Being from Baltimore and obviously having your roots in Liberia, how do you stay motivated far away from home, and how does your family play into that?
Basically, you kind of come back and you reminisce a little bit, like how far you came. You know what I mean? I have an amazing support system, so they kept me out of a lot of trouble they can keep me out of. But once again, I did what I had to do. But yeah, it's like where you really come from and everything like that. And I call my sister probably like a good 4 out of the 7 days of the week. You know what I mean? If I don't call them that week, they worried, because that's my usual thing. I can just really just chat about how practice was, how my school day was, or just what's going on with my weekend, what I'm doing that weekend, anything like that. Like, my relationship with my siblings and my brother-in-law is more like a friendship relationship. It's not somebody who comes with authority or anything like that, because I agree that we're past that stage. So when I come to my sisters, my brother-in-law, even my mother, sometimes it's more like, hey, Mom, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm thinking, and this is how I'm living. You know, your opinions matter, so that's why I'm telling you this. Let me know if I'm moving wrong or am I living wrong, and et cetera, et cetera. So like, motivation really just come from what I play football for, is to try to create generational value and wealth for me and my family. You know, so.
You ever wear a chain on the field?
Never. Yeah, that's against code. When it comes to UGA, I try to respect Coach Kirby Smart's rules.
To kind of bring it back to football a little bit, you mentioned resiliency. How much has your family and all they've done for you sort of kept you grounded as you've worked your way in your career at UGA? You're taking on a bigger role at special teams and at outside linebacker.
Honestly, I would be lying to you if I never felt, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, life is a part about staying down. You feel me? One thing about prayer, and it always works, is that if you call for God, He will do one side of the prayer. One side of the prayer, you gotta do the other side. If He gonna work His magic, you gotta do yours. You feel me? So I pray to Him. My mother would do most of the praying for real, because she's a very prayerful woman. But I pray to Him. I tell Him to ask Him what I want in life, and I just got to go out there and do it. You know what I mean? So basically, my simple analogy is that God will place a door in front of you. It's your job to twist the knob and open it. And that's what I've been trying to do.
Going back to St. John's in high school, what was it like playing for coaches Casamento?
Yeah.
And what did he teach? What did he teach you? And did he help you kind of fall in love with the game of football?
I've been loving football before I got to high school, but I will say that he just taught me how to be a man. And like when I mean how to be a man, I really mean like how to be an actual functional student athlete, because this stuff ain't easy. You feel me? A lot of players will tell you that, but just how to actually from a long day of school to come out and practice your butt off and actually do what you got to do best and do what you love, and actually cancel out outside distractions, because when it comes to high school, them outside distractions be offers or rankings or what people are talking about you on Twitter and stuff like that. He really taught us, like, if you just play the game like you supposed to, play the game how you do it, all that will come. You don't gotta worry about none of that. Just be where your feet at. So.
How much did you grow last year as a reserve on one of the most dominant defenses in college football history?
I say I grew a lot, for real. More so in a sense where humility was part of that, and a lot of understanding and connection was a part of that too. You know, Coach Smart, he preaches that best about connection, everything like that, how we gotta stay connected, and that's one of the things that really helped me stay grounded and humble without the process of being a reserve, because all them boys, all the 11, the front 7 and all the 11 that's on that defense, they weren't for none. They were actually some talented folks out in that field that was in front of me. So what does it matter for me to throw my hands up and complain and kick rocks on the ground, instead of just appreciating where I'm at and understanding how to learn from those guys in front of me?
Got time for 2 more?
Going back to your roots, 2-part question. You being from Maryland, I was gonna ask about your relationship with Pop, and then I follow Coach Deriba on Instagram, and I see he has a Nigerian flag in there, and you said you were proud of his your African roots, and I was wondering if y'all share something like that in your relationship with your position coach.
Me and Coach Deriba, that kind of solidified our relationship when I first found out about that one. Just hearing his last name, I was like, okay, yeah, he's one of us. But all jokes aside, for real. But like, nah, I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, there's some common ground that be able to be shared with me and him, and it's not something that me and Coach Deriba, we see eye to eye, and as everybody else in the OLB group. He's very down to earth. He's young. He understands us in more ways that any other coach would, and you know, that's that. And me and Pop been rocking out forever. You know what I'm saying? So like, the funny thing is, it's crazy because we kind of switched areas. I went to St. John's when I'm originally from the Baltimore area. He went to St. Francis when he's originally from that Maryland, D.C. area. So like, we just talk about that, and it's always been like a little rah-rah between like who's better, St. John's or St. Francis and all that other stuff. But like, just friendly camaraderie, and that's how it is for real.
Thank you.
So, you talked a bit about learning from some of those linebackers last year. Can you talk a bit about the things that you learned and how you implemented those things this year?
One thing that I'm comfortable admitting that I lacked a little bit was when it came to my pass rushing skills. You know what I mean? Like, high school ball is high school. I was able to put my hands on somebody and drive them back to the quarterback. But SEC football is not like that. There's big boys up on that front line. So, and you got to be able to use your God-given talent to do what you got to do. And not that I was naive to that. It was more so like, how can I do it efficiently? So like, guys like who's still here right now, Nolan, you know, Adam, you know, everybody else like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, just talking to those guys, and like even Robert Beal and stuff like that, just talking to those guys and be like, hey man, how did you do this? You know, watching it on film, like, okay, he's okay. And I'll ask him in person, like, hey, how did you do this? Or I used to do this real childish stuff. I don't want to call it childish, but it was like, it brought the freshman out of me. As soon as I done the rep, I'll run over to them like, hey, how was that? Did I do it good? You saw what I did? And you know what I mean? But it's more so in the fact, like, I have a big emphasis on doing something right. If I do it on the field, I want to make sure it's right, because once again, it's a defense. all 11 work on a string like a puppet, and we got to do what we got to do best.
Yeah, Jay, appreciate it, man.
Thanks.